And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show. As you are, as we do during the show, you're taking a ride, you're riding with the king. And it is a lot to talk about tonight. And our guest will be Chip Carey, legendary play-by-play announcer and actually he's done basketball uh, in the NBA, he's done college football. He's had a very, very illustrious career. We'll talk to him, obviously, mainly about baseball, with the baseball playoffs beginning this week, and get his perspective. But I first want to tell you that this show has been presented by a terrific guy with a terrific company, Stillwell Financial Advisors, to help you in this country, the way things are going right now. You need somebody to kind of put you in a good place down the line. And that's what Jeff Stillwell at Stillwell Financial Advisors will do with your money. Just any wealth you may have. Uh, you may want to invest it with Jeff Stillwell, but I'll tell you this: you will not go wrong because this guy knows his stuff. There's his number: 732-343-0813. All right, there will be a lot to talk about tonight. The Eagles are always on the top of the list. The Phillies, the Phillies played an intra-squad game tonight, and they charged $10. They said was for Phillies charities. I think it's portions of the proceeds. You can't tell me the Phillies didn't make money. That's if it's 31,000 or 35,000, whatever the hell it is. Whatever it is, they'll call it a sellout. But whatever it is, it's a lot of money, and you can't not make money. Concessions, I'm sure, are open, and I'm sure they have costs. Whatever the case may be. And they don't play 9 innings, so I don't know how many innings they played. They didn't play, but Bryce Harper had a home run tonight. Great, Bryce. How about hitting against the opposition and not against your own guys? It's nice. Whatever. They're going to have to do better offensively than they've done for a while. I see a lot of people have joined the show. I see Tony's there, Patty H, George. George, I stumbled on your video, George, talking about how great Phillies fans are. It was $10 a ticket, George. No, and you didn't pay for parking. Let them do that during the regular season and not charge you for parking. It's one thing to charge you for the tickets. They got to do that, but let them not charge you for the parking, and we'll see how good everybody is. It just whatever. But also, and there's some Eagle things that I do want to talk about. We got to talk about AJ Brown. Vic Fangio made a comment, and I'm kind of straighten it out. The comment he made about the kicking balls, just to kind of clarify it and hopefully understand what it's the same football. It's just the way they deal with it is different. And the kicking numbers, and I'll get to that too. The kicking numbers are kind of similar. They're actually kind of similar, which I wouldn't believe. There's guys kicking long field goals. I get that, but we'll get into that a little bit as well. But first, I want to tell you some other important people, important to this program and important to you. And first would be Audi Westchester. And right now, they got another deal. Now, a lot of people took advantage of the sale that they had last month on the electric cars. I'm telling you, a lot of people. Right now, they got another great program going on, 3.99% financing for up to 72 months on the following new Audis: the Q5, and all these cars are great vehicles: the SQ5, the Q5 Sportback, the SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear-wheel drive. Say that quickly. Rear wheel drive. Uh, Check it all out at Audi. You see, if you're watching the video part of this, there's a lot of great things going on at Audi Westchester. For more details and to see their all new facility, have fun looking at a new car, have fun talking to the people, grab a cup of coffee, get a bottle of water, whatever you want, grab some snacks. Audi Westchester, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Don't wait. This special offer won't last long. 3.99% financing for up to 72 months on the following new Audis. I mentioned it to him: the Q5, SQ5, Q5 Sportback, SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. Check it all out. AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. And you're still with the weather the way it is. You can still take care of your property and have Piazza Property Pros do that for you. Whether it's your backyard transformation, Piazza Property Pros can do that. The fire pit. You have a little, a little hot tub there. But they can really make your property look great. Besides, if you want to get a pool and you've been thinking about it for a while, Piazza Property Pros with 25 years of experience. That's 25 years. They specialize in turning your vision into really a reality. And that's a big thing. All the work is done by their people. They don't subcontract. Uh, they don't subcontract. And whether it's pool maintenance, landscaping, fencing, hardscaping, you can trust Piazza Property Pros. And they'll work within your budget. Here's a number: 610-566-2608. You can schedule a free consultation. Not everybody gives you a consultation for free. Free consultation. That's 610-566-2608. Or check them out, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right, let's deal with the Eagles before we get to Chip Caray. The Eagles numbers, I can't believe, and I didn't check it. And I don't know if my AI person can tell me the last time a team had minus yards in one half of football. When you think about that, that's almost impossible. I mean, it's almost impossible. Not one complete pass in the second half, minus 2 yards total offense. I don't even, I might even ask, I don't know if my AI person would have an answer for that. You know what? I don't know if they would have an answer for that. But, maybe. By the way, we're going to announce, I might as well do it now, the winner, and we'll have a question from tonight to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. The winner of the Ryan Howard autographed baseball. The question was, it was 2 shows ago, but I forgot to ask the question then, and I extended it for 2 shows. Bob Stonis. I hope I pronounced your name right, Bob. Bob Stonis wins the Ryan Howard baseball. James Brown, we talked about the toughest interview he had because he covered figure skating. In figure skating, toughest interview was Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding, obviously for obvious reasons. But Bob, congratulations. You have won the autographed baseball autographed by Ryan Howard. Congratulations. And we'll have another question for tonight to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. You know what? I'm curious now, and we'll see how good my AI person is. I say her, it's a woman's voice. It'll be interesting. All right, here we go. The Eagles had minus yards of total offense in one half of their game last Sunday. When is the last time an NFL team had minus yards in a half? This is a tough one for her. I know.
That's wild. Minus yards. Last time was actually the Broncos.
Wow.
Just days.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Just days ago?
Yeah. The Broncos' first half against the Chargers. They finished with minus 12 total yards. Sacked 5 times, fumbled once. Total disaster until the second half. Eagles at least had company this year, right?
Wow. Okay, when was the time before that?
Before the Broncos,
Yes.
dig back to they ended with minus 14 yards that half. Rain, turnovers, you name it.
Who was it? Who was it before the Broncos?
The Seahawks, 1979 against the Rams, minus 14 yards in that first half. Total mess, like the field was greased.
Well, if it was grease, they would have probably gotten some yards. But I appreciate the knowledge. Thank you.
Yeah, well, grease or mud, either way, they're pros. At least history remembers the absurdity. You're welcome.
All right, thanks. Well, how about that? So the Broncos and the Eagles are playing the Broncos. I know they're playing the Broncos on Sunday. But the Broncos, well, the Eagles won the game and the Broncos won the game. Broncos beat the other team. Oh, no. Well, they were playing the Broncos. It was no, it wasn't. It was the Broncos. No, she said the Chargers. Didn't she say the Chargers? No, the Chargers, because they had all those turnovers and the Chargers lost the game to the Giants. I thought she said the Broncos too, but it was the Chargers who lost the game. So yeah, you normally don't win a game like that. Yeah, I thought she said, I'm almost positive. Yeah, she said before the Broncos, but the Broncos, yeah, the Broncos first half against the Chargers. So that wasn't last week. That was earlier. So, all right, but we'll deal with that. So, it's unbelievable when you think about that. That's almost impossible. Almost impossible. I think Chip Carey is about ready. So, uh, uh, so, but anyway, there's a couple other things I want to talk about with the Eagles. People they find an excuse for the players. You think Kevin Patullo can't find an open receiver? So people blame the offensive coordinator. That's not the case. That's not the case. And AJ Brown kind of, I guess he kind of apologized today for his post on social media when he was complaining. And I guarantee you, it won't be the last time that he complains. It will not be the last time. And then Vic Fangio, I'm going to straighten out his comments too. You know what? Let me play AJ Brown, his apology today before we get to Chip Carey. Joe, if you have AJ Brown there, let's play AJ Brown.
First off, I want to start off by saying, obviously, Sunday after the game, I let my frustrations boil over. I didn't speak to the media. I had a chance to correct my frustrations, and I continued to let it boil over. That's on me. I take full accountability on that, posting that. My message on Twitter wasn't directed at anyone in the building. Not my coaches, not my quarterback, my GM, nobody. Like I said, I take full accountability. I have an open communication with all my coaches and with my quarterback as well. Me and my coaches, KP, Nick, we discuss weekly about trying to get this thing on the same page. So yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
What are your frustrations on the way?
I think it's normal to have frustrations because of the standard that we hold ourselves to, and we have a lot of talent on offense, and to be honest, defense and special teams have been low-key carrying us, and it's just like we need to clean up what we need to clean up and get on the same page and play to the ability that we say that we can and be who we are called to be. So it's a standard that we preach, and so it's easy to have that frustration. I think it's fair to have that frustration, but like I said, I just can't let that boil over. So.
Based on the content of that tweet, it seemed like maybe you were feeling like you weren't being listened to. Is that the case, or is that not the case?
No, again, like I said, the tweet wasn't directed at anyone because I am listened to. Like I said, I have an open communication with my coaches, Nick, KP. I talk all the time with those guys. Nick FaceTime me on Monday when I'm not in the building. This is like a every weekly thing. It's the relationship that we have. So that's not the case at all. So.
I see a comment here by somebody. Big Daddy El Rob is what he goes by. I don't believe a word he says. Well, I believe him now, but that's not the way he felt after the game one Sunday when he had 2 catches for 7 yards, and he's 61st in the league in receptions. All right, let's talk a little baseball. And to do that, legendary baseball broadcaster, and that would be Chip Caray. Chip, how are you, brother?
Hey, genius! I'm sorry, I got the time zones messed up, so I owe you a nice cold Yingling at some point.
Okay, you know what? I figured that on one of my text messages. I said Eastern time, and I know you're not one of those fans that don't understand. I'm killing.
Well,
killing.
I went to Georgia, so let's just say education was not my highest priority.
Oh, great. Well, yeah, but at least you didn't get a DUI like most of their football players
Hey,
get.
easy. Speed limits or suggestions. Okay, here we go.
Okay, all right, great. Chip, when I look at your career and you did NBA basketball, you've worked for the Cubs, the Braves, Seattle, and now you're with the St. Louis Cardinals. So you understand what a long season is. Just a quick question. I just thought about this. Is the season too long to have all these playoffs?
No, it's not. That's the beauty of the season. You play a team in different seasons of the season, and that's the essence of the game. Look at what the Mets did. They were pretty dominant against the Marlins, had to win 3 games at the end of the year and couldn't do it, and ended up getting knocked out of postseason play. That's the beauty of a 162 game schedule. It's truly the greatest marathon in sports, and that's what I think makes it so special. What you see in April, you may not see in September, and we've seen that a lot in Major League Baseball. Look at what the Astros did. Look what the Cardinals did. At one point, the Cardinals were a half game out of first place and had a 2.5 game deficit in the wild card and couldn't get it done in the second half of the year. So, no, I think 162 is the perfect number. I hope it doesn't change. Yeah, I know it was 154 and all that stuff, but I can't imagine a scenario where players are going to want to give back 5% of their salaries and owners aren't going to want to give away 5% of their gate revenues to shorten the season. At least that's my hope.
No, well, yeah, money kind of dictates a lot of things. When you look at the playoffs, there's been a little bit of a history that a team with a bye doesn't do well after the bye. Do you think that's a problem and everybody should play? I mean, you're playing to get to home field, but you're also playing for a bye to get yourself rested. Like the Phillies tonight
Right.
had an intra squad game, their pitchers pitching against each other and their players. But is the bye not a good thing for a baseball team?
I think it depends on if you get knocked out or not, right? If you're banged up and you're hurt, you can advance after the bye. I think it's a great idea. I think maybe a way you could change that is give the top 2 teams the option. Do you want to play a first round game or not? And if you do, all 3 games are in your ballpark. That should be the reward for a team that has the first or second best record if you want to play it that way. And if expansion comes, it wouldn't surprise me if we expand playoffs by a couple of more teams, which would make that certainly interesting. But you talk about a great psychological game within a game. Okay, I'm the Phillies and I want to play in the first round. And okay, I've got the Reds, right? I get the Reds
Yeah.
for 3 games in my ballpark, winner take all series. If I take 2 games, I go on. If not, I lose. Well, you think the Reds are going to be fired up for that or not? I think they would be. I think there'd be great theater, great drama, and it would alleviate the concern that every one of these top 2 seeds worry about, and that is too much rest leading to rust? We don't know. We're going to find out, but I know every team that's banged up and hurt over the long season wants that rest. Can they dial up the intensity and crank it up when it matters most in a couple of days? We're
I
about to
guess
find out.
it's all about trying to get your pitchers ready.
Yeah.
I forget who I was talking to. I was talking to a baseball person, a former executive, and you may have met him along the way. I don't want to mention his name in case he doesn't want his name mentioned. He said when you had years ago, you had pitchers pitch complete games, a lot of complete games. We can go back to Robin Roberts, who had 36, but that's a long time ago. Steve Carlton had 20 some complete games. So that's still a long time ago. Why can't pitchers extend themselves in today's game, or are they not allowed to extend themselves?
I think there are a couple of things. I think both are true. I think one, they chase spin and velocity. It's max effort with every pitch. And because of that spin and max effort, they wear out and get tired a lot faster than pitchers in earlier years did. And to your second point, yeah, they're not allowed to. If you look at the numbers, the third time through the order penalty is a real thing because of what I just said. So the analytics guys, the managers, they can read a stat sheet too. They have a rested bullpen. They have guys that can come in and throw 99 or 100 for an inning at a time. And they have a rested reliever ready to go instead of a tiring pitcher for the heart of a lineup in a postseason game. It makes total sense to do it. Is it the same game that we grew up watching? No. Is it the same entertainment of watching Bob Gibson face Mickey Mantle a third time in the World Series? No. But the numbers don't lie. And as much as we may not like it, the game is changing and evolving, and it's their game. If that's the way they want to play it, and it's based on a math algorithm, the numbers don't lie. So that's why it happens. That's why they do it, and it's unfortunate because so much of what we do in the TV business is entertainment and drama, and a lot of the drama is taken away because, well, the left-handed lane's coming up, so that's why the left-handed pitcher is coming in, or the right-handed lane is coming in. That's why this guy is pitching, or he's pitched 2 days in a row. He's not available. You can almost, I don't want to say it disrespectfully, but you can almost manage along with the manager because you can read a stat sheet too. And some of the drama of the game is those unexpected performances and unexpected times that I think we're missing.
Okay, well, the Yankee fans may not agree with all these analytic geniuses because the first game of that series, Boston, Fried had 6 1/3 shutout innings. They weren't touching him. And then Aaron Boone, who I know is a baseball guy because I know Aaron well, but he believes in part in analytics. So there was something there analytically, and I didn't hear what he said after the game, that he believed that Fried should have come out. And then the Red Sox scored 2 runs against their bullpen and win the first game of that series. Sometimes, if the manager's a baseball guy, shouldn't he? I mean, for years, they've had the feel of the game. They understand the game. Shouldn't they just have the feel of the game and not pay attention to a computer so many times?
I think they do, but I think all these guys have a boss too. And if it doesn't work out, then they've got to answer to that guy at the end of the game. The way, Howard, you solve this problem, in my opinion, is look, analytics is information. I'm not a super analytics guy, but I appreciate the knowledge and I appreciate the insight that it can give for a major league manager and even a major league broadcaster. But if you really want to solve this problem, when the post game press conferences take place and you have Aaron Boone sitting on the dais, why not have the analytics guy sitting next to him to explain why he gave that information to Aaron Boone and what that information meant and what that information led to the decision that he made during the course of the game? That never happens, and I wish it would, because I think it would be very insightful for the fans to understand the thought process and the logic that goes into some of these incredibly difficult and important decisions, but it would also shine a spotlight on the guys that are sometimes pulling the strings. Let's know who these people are, for crying out loud. Why should Aaron Boone or a player have to be held responsible for the outcome of a collective organizational decision? I'd like to see those organizational guys out there be asked those questions and answer them, because he or she might educate and illuminate all of us.
Chip, the game is I mean, all sports are played by individuals and human beings, and it's the passion and it's the feel of the game. And analytics seem to be taking away from those kinds of things, that the feel of the game. It's just, you see outfielders pull out a card out of their pocket and where to play a guy. What happened to the days when the opposition would watch batting practice? Now they're in there either on their phone sending text message or playing video games, doing all the nonsense that they do. And you watch, I mean, and I didn't play at that level, but I always watched the other team to see where the tendency of that player. What happened? And is that missing from today's game where a guy pulls out a card?
It's still a human game played by human beings, because all the cards can tell you what to do. But if a pitcher doesn't put the ball where he's supposed to put it, your shift isn't going to work in the outfield, because he's going to split a gap and the guy's going to run forever, right? But I think that the reason that we are where we are is we have very smart people that are in charge of our game. that are trying to win games on the margins. And those margins matter over the course of 162 games. If you make these analytically, if you will, which is the wrong word, I think informationally
Mhm.
based decisions, if that wins you three games in a pennant race, in a divisional race, is an awful lot. That's a huge, huge advantage. And I think that teams are always looking for whatever edge they can get. They have much more information, much more data on what makes guys tick. They have much more data on what pitch grips and how a guy moving his finger 1 millimeter on a seam of the baseball can do as far as pitch shaping is concerned, and how a guy's stance can affect launch angle and power and velocity off the bat. We're entering the technology age of our game, and we're losing the technology race from a human standpoint, but the information is not going away. This is AI gone crazy in our sport, and it's not going to change. There are smart people, and even more smart people coming, that are going to find every single edge they can find to try to win a baseball game, instead of the old days when, as you said, Robin Roberts would go to the mound and throw a slider. Well, that felt good. Try to make it feel good again. Well, now there are tangible ways that the analytics guys can show a pitcher exactly what he did, how he did it, where he held the ball, where his release point was, where his foot was on the rubber, and where he landed, to be able to repeat that in a way that's going to make him and ultimately his team more successful. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
All right. I like the human part of the game, and we're going to lose that next year with the Robo Umps. Now, when you're in the booth and you see a pitch and there's a box there, and whether some people believe it's accurate or it's not accurate, it's more accurate than some umpires are. However, when you take away a batter looking at an umpire, can't look at an umpire. It ain't me, brother. It's some computer
Yeah.
somewhere. You know, I think fans love that kind of energy and diversion from what is sometimes, when you're not hitting, a long 9 innings. Are you in favor? And if so, or if not, why or why not, of the Robo
I think
Umps?
what's happened in our game is the umpires are so good at umpiring the box, right? They umpire the box that we see on TV. And I don't know how accurate the box is or not, but that's what they umpire. And if it's a 10-1 game and a ball width off the plate, you ring that up a strike in the old days. Let's get this over with, boys, because you're not going to win today, right? That's the old school style of umpiring. But today's umpires umpire to that strike zone. They've been trained exceptionally well to do that. I think the strategy will be, when do you use it? Who's going to use it? What situation do you use it? After all, you only get two of them. But
Two
ultimately,
challenges. What you're saying is you get two challenges on the Robo Ump, but the
right.
Robo Ump calls all the balls and strikes, correct?
No. You get
Oh,
two
okay.
challenges. Yeah, there's no Robo Ump next year. It's two challenges. That's it. And so, when do you
Oh,
use them?
okay.
Who uses them? What situation? I'm okay with that. We experimented with it in spring training, and it's kind of cool because there's some anticipation. The fans look and go, "Oh, it's a strike!" And I'd love to see the umpires do a little Ed Hockley stuff. Well, surprisingly, that one was called correctly. It's a strike. Have some fun with it. Be humans about it. I think that part of it's good. From a broadcasting standpoint, I must tell you, I feel sorry for Joe Davis or Brian Anderson or any of the guys doing the national games. Strike three. Cal Raleigh called out. The Phillies win the World Series. Nope, we're going to appeal it. Nope, it was a ball. It's a bases loaded walk. That's what's going to happen. Just like replay on a play at the plate.
Wow.
Our quest for perfection, to your point, in some ways, is taking the soul out of the game, and our quest for perfection is making our game like a beautiful brand new Lexus off the assembly line, when for so many years it was a 67 Camaro that you could smell the gasoline when you when you put the accelerator to the floor. I prefer the latter as opposed to the former. But at the end of the day, Howard, it's their game, not mine. And with so much money riding on every pitch, so much importance placed on every single play, baseball, I think, like the other sports, has no choice but to use technology in a way that they get it right, so they don't have to worry about a Don Denkinger or a Jim Joyce call on the base pass or at home plate.
Yeah. Well, why wasn't Jim Joyce's play challenged? Why
It didn't
wasn't?
exist. There was no replay then.
Oh, there was no replay, because I
Yeah,
remember he came to Philadelphia the next day and he felt
yeah,
so bad because he
yeah.
knew he made a mistake, and
Yeah,
it
it's
was a
like Don
perfect
Denkinger,
game.
great umpire. I mean, he blew a call at first base in the World Series against the Cardinals. It cost the Cardinals that game and probably the World Series. I mean, it happens. The play at the plate the other day in Cleveland, or just yesterday in Cleveland, the play at the plate, guy was called out. He was safe by, by 6 inches, and they went to replay and got it right. It's the old adage: whose ox is getting gored? If you're the team on the short end of it, you hate it. If you're the team that says that gets the call right, you love replay because it validates your biases and it validates the fact that you were right and the call was incorrect in the first place. So again, I think technology is not our enemy. It's, as you said, the balance between technology and the human element. And I'll be the first to say, the umpires that are working today, they are incredibly talented. As hard as guys throw, as much movement as there is at the plate, as fast as guys move on the base paths, they do a tremendous job. This is just going to help them out a little bit. And at a big moment in the game, shouldn't we want to get it right so we don't have those magical or unmagical moments?
Yeah, it's an interesting. I misunderstood the Robo Umps. I thought it was balls and strikes, and I thought the umpire gets the call, and he just calls
Yeah,
the ball
no,
and a
no.
strike.
It's going to be pitcher, batter, catcher, and they have to appeal it right away. They can get no help from the dugout. If they want to appeal, they tap their helmet. It pops up on the scoreboard just like the Cyclops in Wimbledon. The
Right.
call is called a ball or strike.
Yep.
If the call is if the batter or pitcher got it right, they keep the challenge. If not, they lose it and they get one left. That's how it works.
You know what? But the example you brought up, there is no way if a pitch decides a World Series or even a game that they're going to change that. They're going to bypass that challenge, and there's no way they're going to change the outcome of a World Series. No
You
way.
sure? Think of the
We'll
money.
see.
Think of the money that's bet in Vegas. Think of the partnerships that baseball and the other sports have with all the FanDuel and DraftKings and all that stuff. Are you sure about that? Every pitch in our game, every basket, every timeout, every turnover, every field goal, every first down. Now in today's technology and betting era, everything matters a lot, and that's the genesis, in my opinion, for a lot of this.
Okay, now let's take a look at how you look at the playoffs. And I think you gave me a little insight with the example you had of that third strike, who you think is going to be in the World Series. I don't know that I agree, but how do you look at these playoffs? And first of all, I ask you, is there a sleeper team that you look at? Be careful, this team.
Yeah, I think the Mariners. I think people in the East don't know how good that team is. They don't know any of their starters. They know Cal Raleigh, and they know that Ichiro used to play there, and they know they have good Dungeness crab at the Pike Place Market, but they don't know much about that team. They're really good. They've got an excellent pitching staff. They can slug with anybody. Their catcher was remarkable. I think the Mariners had a magical season. First time they've won the division since 2001. Dan Wilson was the catcher for Jamie Moyer the last time Seattle
Wow.
won the Western Division title in 2001. So to answer your question, the World Series, I as a fan want to see. I want to see the Mariners and the Phillies. I have such great respect for the Phillies. It's time for Bryce Harper to win that championship. It's time for Rob Thompson to get his due. He's done a remarkable job there. Philly's going to miss Zach Wheeler, no doubt about it. But all those lefty arms you guys have in rotation, that can make anybody's lineup look awfully feeble. And knowing the Phillies and how they play and the respect I have for that organization, I think that would be one hell of a great World Series because it's two new teams. And I think that's what makes this playoff so exciting. The Reds are relatively new. The Guardians relatively new. The Tigers relatively new. Seattle relatively new. Everybody's money's on the Dodgers. Well, the Mets didn't make it. The Astros didn't make it. That's what's great about our game is that every year somebody has a chance to get in and shock the world. And maybe the Phillies and Mariners will be the teams respectively that are able to do that. I think that would be a fantastically compelling fall classic. Travel's going to stink, but the two terrific teams going head to head, I think that would be great entertainment.
You know what? I'm not in love with the Phillies lineup. They go, days with struggling to score runs. I know their pitching's good. I don't think their bullpen is fixed. Duran, if you look at, everybody made a big deal at first. He gives up a hit, at least one hit, almost every time he comes in a safe situation, and that's the only time he comes in as a safe situation. So
Right.
I'm not locked in on Duran. He's better than what they had for sure as a closer. And their pitching is good, but I don't like Bryce Harper as a three hitter. I know nobody cares about average anymore. He ended up 261 He had 27 home runs. Do you know, and I'm going to throw this at you, Bryce Harper, I'm going to ask you this question. How many times do you think Bryce Harper drove in 100 runs in a season? He's played, what, 14 seasons?
I'd say none or one.
One with
Yeah,
Washington and one with the Phillies. And
two.
that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I like him as a three hitter because even though the three hitter's not what the three hitter used to be, it should be still a guy that drives in runs. And I don't think he's that guy right now. Now, I don't know that that could change. I don't know if it could change next year, but it's too hit and miss their lineup. It just, too many outs in that lineup, and that's what I don't like. And nobody's scoring, it seems like, other than the Dodgers so far, and we've only played one day of the playoffs.
Yeah, and
as
that's
we do
fair.
this.
I think one thing for the Phillies is you played the last several weeks without Trey Turner. He's a difference maker. If he can come back and be Trey Turner, I love Bryson Stott. Castellanos can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Bader's going to catch everything. Is JT healthy? All that stuff's going to matter. But look, in the playoffs, it comes down to one thing: if you pitch, you win. And the Phillies have a really good starting staff. So does Seattle's. The Mariners have a really good bullpen that throws 100. So do the Phillies. It's going to come down to home field advantage. It's going to come down to who makes the least mistakes, and it's going to come down to who can get that big hit in the magical moment when it matters. And I think the Phillies' track record of being there before is going to be an intangible difference maker because that matters in postseason play. When 50,000 people are screaming at you and you've done this before, that matters. A lot of these Mariners guys haven't done that before. And as you know, Howard, you've been around pro sports all your life. Sometimes you have to learn how not to lose before you learn how to win. And I think the Phillies are primed to take that next step forward. And I think that'd be great for the game.
When you look at Milwaukee, and you've seen them a lot,
Yeah.
Are they as good a team as the record shows? I think they had the best record in baseball, correct? And they had the best record in the National League. I think it's the best record in baseball. Okay. Usually the team with the best record in professional sports rarely wins a championship, which is
Correct.
amazing when you look at it. Yeah, when you look at it. Is Milwaukee kind of reached its level?
I think what distinguishes Milwaukee from other teams is how athletic they are and their ability to manufacture havoc. They're all great athletes. Balls that are normally hits are kept on the infield to prevent a run. May not be an out, but they save runs with their legs. They have a terrific dynamic outfield. Jackson Churio, he played in a bigger market, would be on the covers of Wheaties boxes. William Contreras, one of the best hitting catchers in our game. They're starting rotation with Peralta and Priester and Woodruff. If he's healthy, that's a good threesome that you got to deal with. Their bullpen is very, very good and effective.
Chip, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit, but I'm going to ask you one question. If there was one sleeper in the National League, who do you think it would be?
Milwaukee. Because nobody's
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee? They have enough
Yeah.
talent.
Okay. They're a good team. They're a good team. Okay. All right. It's starting to lose you there. I guess the vibes in St. Louis in the Midwest are a little different right now. but hey, listen, we're slaves to the internet. We're slaves. It's kind of interesting. I have an app on my phone where I ask a question and it's a woman's voice and she actually engages with a personality. I wish I could hear you. If I could hear your question, I would ask her and I would let you hear her. All right. I'm going to ask her. It's an opinion. Let's see what she says. Who do you think will represent the National League in the World Series, and who do you think will represent the American League in the World Series?
Tough call, but I'd bet on the Dodgers for the National League. They're loaded with Ohtani, Betts, and that bullpen's been nails lately. American League? Yankees have Judge heating up, and that rotation's deep. Feels like their year for payback. Phillies could crash the NL party with Harper, though. And Mariners scare me in the AL with Raleigh's power. Who's your pick?
I'm going to go by yours. Maybe we can make another bet. My pick would be the Dodgers and the Mariners.
All right. Dodgers Mariners series sounds spicy. Bets on. Let's see who pays up when it's over.
All right, thanks. Have a good night. That's our world now. That's our world. That's AI, artificial. Isn't that crazy? It's just out of control. All right. Hey, I appreciate it. Sorry that the air is kind of fizzling away there in the Midwest, but I love you. I appreciate it. And so your pick would be the Phillies and the Mariners in the World Series. And you just give me, if I can hear you, the Phillies would be one, the Mariners would be two. Who do you think would win the World Series, one or two?
I think the Phillies can win it because cheesesteaks, top tofu.
Just give me your fingers because I can't hear you. Who would win the World Series between the Phillies and the Mariners? One, the Phillies. One, the Phillies. Two, the Phillies. So you think the Phillies are going to win the World Series? All right, Chip. They love you in Philadelphia now. All right. Hey, thanks. I say hello to all my friends out in the Midwest. Take care, Chip Carey. It's too bad. There's nothing you can do about the internet. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about the internet. But my AI person, she she what's that? Yeah, no, that's all right because he got down to I don't know. I could call him. I got down and just put him on that way. But we got through most of the stuff. But he gave me his outlook on baseball and who he thinks is going to get there. It's just Milwaukee's still a good team. People kind of forget about Milwaukee because they're so just invisible as a team. Nobody thinks about the Milwaukee Brewers, but they are. He's right. They are a good team. So, and the Phillies, they would play the Phillies, but they both have to win one series. The Phillies would have to beat the Dodgers, and Milwaukee would have to beat. I don't know if the Cubs. I still think the Cubs are the team that will come out of that playoff. But now they go to San Diego is pretty good too. So we'll see what happens. All right. Yeah, it really is kind of interesting when you think about the best team. Think about that. The best team, excuse me, the team with the best record doesn't always win. Actually, doesn't win most of the time a championship. That's fascinating. Maybe they just put everything into the season. Once in a while it happens, but it's rare. It's rare. Like when Kansas City beat the Eagles, they both had the same record. So they had the team. They were the team with the best record, but the Eagles tied them with the best record, so you couldn't have both of them. But it is fascinating. All right, and I will have a question for you to win the Oakley sunglasses. Let me just tell you that always appreciate our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, Jeff Stillwell, number 732-343-0813. You want to protect yourself financially down the road. And I see something on a comment. I'll get to it in a second. But you want to protect yourself financially or help yourself financially, both protect and help. Jeff Stillwell is the guy that can really help you. 732-343-0813. All right, I'm going to get to what Vic Fangio said, and I want to get back and kind of straighten that out a little bit. And I see some comments here. Big Daddy L, I bet he goes on Seattle TV and says they will win. Nah, I'm not so sure. If you get both of them in the playoffs, that's still, or in the World Series, that's still pretty good. I just don't like Bryce Harper hitting three. I know in the intra squad game, he had a home run tonight. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how many innings they play. They probably played about 6 innings because they don't want to use up too much of their pitching. They just want to get the guys. That's really more for the hitters than it is for the pitchers. All right, I'll have a question shortly, and I'll get to some Eagle stuff, and I'll get to Fangio, and I want to get back to AJ Brown. And I'm going to ask the people I see in the chat room this question. Do you believe AJ Brown's sincerity. I played his comment earlier that he made today, first time he spoke since he went on social media after the game, where he wasn't happy that he basically got only 2 catches. He had 9 targets. I mean, he had more targets than anybody else. I see Ted's out there. Ted said it was 7 innings. Yeah, I knew they wouldn't play a full game, but it went quicker. Boy, you'd hope it go that quick during a baseball game. But you don't. I guess you don't have all the commercials. That's why you go up there. Next team comes up, and you don't have all those breaks with commercials and everything else. And they have the pitcher ready. So if you want to, you probably had a pitcher to start the inning. I don't know if they took any pitchers out during the inning. All right. Also, I want to tell you about another deal at Audi Westchester. Another deal. They had a great deal last month. And I actually met some of the customers at Audi Westchester when I was out there. They really did a great job with the electric cars, and it's a deal you'll never get again. And people that took advantage of it, you did a good thing. Well, you can take advantage of another deal right now at Audi Westchester, 3.99% financing for up to 72 months on the following new Audis. The Q5. These are all great vehicles. Actually, I was going to correct Chip. You could drive a Lexus, or what he mentioned, something else. Well, I drive an Audi, so I'd rather have the Audi. But you can get the Q5. I drive the A6 right now. The SQ5, the Q5 Sport Pack, the SQ5 Sport Pack, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. So stop by Audi Westchester. You'll have fun looking at the vehicles. If nothing else, you have fun when you're looking for a car. You'll have fun looking at the vehicles, and you can get more details. See their all new facility, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Talk to the people there. Like I said, you'll have fun. Grab a cup of coffee, bottle of water, some snacks. Don't wait. Like the last month's offer, this special offer won't last long. 3.99% financing. Don't wait till the end. Inventory is part of the issue. When people want the vehicles, then inventory gets a little tight, and you don't always get exactly what you want. 3.99% financing for up to 72 months on the following new Audis: Q5, SQ5, Q5 Sport Pack, SQ5 Sport Pack, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. And you want to transform your property. Piazza Property Pros can do that for you. 25 years of experience should tell you all you need to know, whether it's a fire pit, whether it's a hot tub, whatever it may be, whether it's fencing, whether it's a new pool. And people, he who hesitates is lost. You've procrastinated on building a pool. Piazza Property Pros can do that for you. Whether it's excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance, you can trust Piazza Property Pros. They do a great job, and they'll work within your budget. Here's the number: 610-566-2608. Schedule a free consultation. Not every one of these companies has a free consultation. Free consultation. That's 610-566-2608, or check them out on the internet, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. I asked people, and I just saw one comment, whether they thought H.A. Brown was sincere. Patty H always chimes into these shows. I don't believe. Oh, I just lost it here. I want to read your whole comment, Patty. Okay. I don't believe AJ at all. I think he realized he made a mistake. Players should not take to social media when they are heated. That's a really good point, Patty. They can't roll it back, and it is passive aggression. It's an interesting way to look at it, but is he sincere now with his apology? Did he realize he made a mistake? Now, he's done this before on social media. And then Ted has a comment. I think the media has overblown it again this year. We were talking about the same thing last year when they were 2-2. No, it's a different dynamic. They weren't this bad on one side of the football, or weren't this average. Their offense basically is average. What they do is they get turnovers, and that's how they really won games. I see, but how do you get minus yardage in a half? How do you have no completions in a half? I don't understand that. And AJ, he's not happy being 61st in the league in receptions. Devontae, I see another comment from Big Daddy. Devontae Dotson and Mechie can handle the receiving duties. I think you need the threat of AJ out there. And I mentioned the other day on another podcast, I don't know this, but I don't know that AJ may have lost a step. There's tight throws, and those up for grab balls he usually gets, and that's why you throw it to him. But he used to have you never get that much separation. You used to have a little bit of separations. So, George says, do the Eagles look to trade Brown after the season? You know what? I think they would think about it because he's going to want it. Here's the other thing. He's got one real year left on his contract, the way I understand it. He's going to want a new contract. He's making $32 million, but he's going to want a new contract, or his agent's going to want a new contract. That's going to be an interesting dynamic. PA Sports says that would never happen, trading AJ for 2 or 3 or a third round pick. I don't know what they would trade him for, because whoever would trade for him, and I'm not saying they will or they won't. I don't know. The thought has to cross their mind, because you don't want to keep a player who wants a new contract, who's past his 30 years of age. I see Scott says AJ Brown was probably told to shut up. I don't think he was told to shut up. I think he was told, and he said in his comment today, if you didn't hear it, we'll play it for you again. He said that he talked to Nick Sirianni, but I don't think he was told to shut up. I don't think he was told to shut up. AJ had a bad hamstring in preseason. Yeah, but it wasn't terrible. He could have probably played if it was a game. I don't know. The experts say he only runs 2 or 3 different routes. I don't know. It's a good question to ask. Brian Baldinger has agreed to come on next Wednesday, and I'll ask him that question. Remind me, Big Daddy, remind me next Wednesday, to ask Brian Baldinger that question and see, because he looks at every game, every play. He looks at the old, the wide shot, the old 22 tape, and he looks at those and sees, basically you see everything with that. And Pat says, I think AJ was about 75% sincere. But that's not being sincere. That's still 25% that he's not sincere. I think he knew there was too much made of it, and I think he said, "Hey, I gotta straighten this out." And to his credit, he spoke to the media today, and he straightened it out. It's on my Twitter if you want, but I'm going to play it for you right now. Here, let's play AJ Brown's comment today about what happened.
First off, I want to start off by saying, obviously, Sunday after the game, I let my frustrations boil over. I didn't speak to the media. I had a chance to correct my frustrations, and I continued to let it boil over. That's on me. I take full accountability on that, posting that. My message on Twitter wasn't directed at anyone in the building. Not my coaches, not my quarterback, my GM, nobody. Like I said, I take full accountability. I have an open communication with all my coaches and with my quarterback as well. Me and my coaches, KP, Nick, we discuss weekly about trying to get this thing on the same page. So yeah, here you go. Go ahead.
What are your frustrations on the way?
I think it's normal to have frustrations because of the standard that we hold ourselves to, and we have a lot of talent on offense, and to be honest, defense and special teams have been low-key carrying us, and it's just like we need to clean up what we need to clean up and get on the same page, and and play to the ability that we say that we can and be who we are called to be. So it's a standard that we preach, and so it's easy to have that frustration. I think it's fair to have that frustration, but like I said, I just can't let that boil over. So.
Based on the content of that tweet, it seemed like maybe you were feeling like you weren't being listened to. Is that the case, or is that not the case?
No, again, like I said, the tweet wasn't directed at anyone because I am listened to. Like I said, I have an open communication with my coaches, Nick, KP. I talk all the time with those guys. Nick FaceTime me on Monday when I'm not in the building. This is like a every weekly thing, you know. That's the relationship that we have. So that's not the case at all.
So he's talked to the head coach. He's talked to the other players. He's talked to the quarterback. I never thought he had a problem with the quarterback. And the quarterback tried to get him the ball when he really wasn't that open. But you throw him the ball and you let him, you know, with his hands and get those up for grab throws. And AJ usually gets them. So was he sincere? I think when he realized what happened, he realized he screwed up. You know, somebody's got to take his phone away for hours after the game. Number one, Big Dom has got to take his phone and hide it. And you can't allow him to go on social media after a game. You can't allow him to tweet after a game. You got to have time to settle down and relax. And he screwed up by putting out a tweet on X or whatever you want to call it. He screwed up and he was wrong. Now, he realized he screwed up. The coach was sincere with him and talked to him and, hey, listen, you're part of the offense. Don't worry about it. And today when he came out, he knew he had to tell people. So today he was sincere. But if he gets 2 catches on Sunday, and I guarantee he's not going to have 2 catches on Sunday, I guarantee you they're going to look for him. They're going to look for him probably more than they should. So we'll see what happens. But he was sincere today. And don't blame the offensive coordinator. All you fans, you know, you're idiots when you blame the offensive coordinator. You really are idiots. It's not his fault. The players make plays. It's just whatever. All right. Vic Fangio, when the coordinators speak on Tuesday, made a comment about the kicking balls. Let's play that comment, and then I'm going to explain after talking to a few different special teams coaches around the league what's going on here. Let's hear from Fangio.
You know what you guys have missed, not just you, but everybody, is, you know, we gave up a 65-yard field goal and a 58-yard field goal. These kicking balls that they changed this year have drastically changed the kicking game, field goals in particular. So it's almost like they need an asterisk here, like it was the live ball era, or the asterisk for those home runs Bonds and Sosa and McGuire were hitting. You know, the way they've changed the ball, the NFL, the kicking ball, has drastically changed the field goals.
Is the shape different?
No, the kicking balls, and you can ask Clay about it when he gets in here, but in years past, the officials would rub them down, or other people would rub them down, and you play with them. Now the balls are in-house all week, and they kick those balls that they've had, and nobody else touches them. I mean, the guy in Dallas is going to hit a 70-plus yarder this year. You can just book it.
Does it change the way you call?
Yeah, I mean, who thought they would hit a 65-yarder the other day? So it's drastically changed the game, the kicking game and the field goal. Guys have longer range than they used to.
You know what? I like Vic Fangio saying something when he comes in a news conference. He wasn't even asked that question, as you heard. He says, you guys have missed something. And, you know, I like when he kind of just he expresses himself. We're on Wednesday today as we're doing this show. Nick Sirianni looks so bored at his news conference. He knows he's not going to answer almost every question. He sits there, he's rubbing his hair, he's rubbing his eyes. It looks like he can't wait till he gets out of there and says nothing. Vic Fangio says something. All right, but let me get down to what I was told. It's the same football. The difference is that, and there's a couple of things in play here. By the way, the numbers, from what I'm told, 50-plus yard field goals are almost exactly the same in terms of the percentage for the first 4 games this year as they were last year. You know, 5 years ago, it was higher, the percentage of made field goals. That means you have to kick it through the uprights anyway. All right. So the football is the same. The difference is the kicking balls on game day, the kickers did not get to see them until the game. And they would kick them when they practice on the sidelines. And the officials, they take 15 minutes to rub them up. So, you rub them up before the game. Where now during the week, if there's a football that you don't, and quarterbacks pick out, I think it's 12, pick out 12 footballs that the offense can use during the game. And the officials look at those. In the case of the kicking balls, the kickers pick out, I think it's 6 balls. They pick out 6 from, I believe that's what I was told. But they rub those balls down during the week. They kick with those balls. They get the feel for those balls. They get all those. They get all those things. But the special teams people, everyone I talked to, didn't agree with Vic Fangio. Now, here is also a difference that was pointed out to me. The weather's been warm or indoors. Kickers are better. Their legs are stronger. In high school, kids are kicking 50-some yard field goals in high school. But when you look at the weather in Tampa, it was 95. The real temperature was like 95 degrees, whatever. It was warm. And a lot of these field goals are either kicked indoors or in warm weather. It's the first 4 games of the season. The weather's warm in most places when they kick those. So we'll see. I was told, let's see what happens when the weather gets colder, when the wind starts kicking up, and all these other things come into play. Now, the kicker from Dallas kicks indoors. And if the weather's an issue, they just close the roof. So the temperature is controlled. And that kicker's really good anyway. So the reality is the special teams people don't believe it's the footballs, other than the fact they're allowed to rub down the footballs now during the week, and it's not just 15 minutes before the game. So if anything, that's the difference. I see, George, does the NFL raise the height of the crossbar? No, crossbar's a crossbar. It's bad enough that you change a lot of these games the way you change them. No, I don't want to change them. But the one thing, and let me look at the line. I'm surprised. The line is dropping on the Eagles game on Sunday. The line is dropping. It was 5.5. It's now down to the Eagles are 3.5-point favorite. Does that mean anything? People are betting Denver. The way the Eagles offense is, I don't think you can lay a lot of points. And we'll have Mark Lawrence on Saturday, and we'll have your calls on Saturday too. I'm going to make a suggestion too. For people that don't want to click into the link and go live, if you tape a comment and send it to our link, let's see if this works on Saturday, and you send it to our link that we'll post for you, a comment. And if you get the link, you can always keep that link and you can use it because we don't change it. Send your comment and I will respond. We'll play your comment. You tape it on your phone and you send it to us. Don't make it too long because you'll probably have trouble sending it. But just ask a question or you have an opinion and I'll comment on it. We'll try that on Saturday, and we'll also try you live. And there's people that like to call in or link in live, and we'll do that on Saturday. And Mark Lawrence will be with us. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to Stillwell Financial Advisors. Thanks to Piazza Property Pros for being a part of this show. Thanks to Audi Westchester, where there's another great deal going on this month. And thanks to you for being a part of the show. And thanks to Chip Carey. Yeah, he was a little late tonight. He was late because he's in Central Time. And I put it on the text. That's Eastern Time. Some people don't think about other time zones when they do things. So I'll have to remind people when they're in different time zones, and I'll have to emphasize that in capital letters. But Chip's always a great guy. And the link, if you want it, is up there now. If you want the link and you can save it, you can send us your videos, and we'll see what happens on Saturday. See if that works out for you. And I will comment on those videos that we play. And obviously, I will comment with people that want to check with us live. And again, Mark Lawrence will be with us. And next Wednesday, Brian Baldinger has agreed to come on too. I see somebody says, I agree with Patty H. They should have more social media training. Doesn't matter. Players are impulsive. And the one thing that you should always think about, whether it's a social media post, whether it's a tweet, or whether it's a social media post, whether it's a text, don't press send. Always think about, don't press send. All right. Thanks to Joe Gangemi for his help on the technical end of this. Thanks for Tony Anastasia for her help with all the graphics that you see on this show. And thanks to you for being a part of this show. Thanks. And we'll see you again on Saturday. And, I'm always trying to post things on social media. So if you catch that, I see there was a lot of people that listened to I believe I had over 140,000 views on the Vic Fangio post. It was different. And a lot of people, they were like different footballs. But again, thanks to you for being a part of it. We'll see you on Saturday. Take care. Oh, well, just stop. Hold on. Joe, can you come back for a second? I got to give the question. Darn, I almost forgot it again. All right, here's the question to win the pair of Oakley sunglasses. Almost did it again. I apologize. To win a pair of Oakley sunglasses, Chip Caray picked 2 teams to get to the World Series. Now, his prediction, 2 teams. What 2 teams did Chip Caray pick to get to the World Series? If you know the answer, send it into my website at howardeskin.com. Have it in by Friday at midnight. Watch the show on Saturday, and we'll announce the winner either on X, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. The winner will be chosen randomly. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you subscribe to YouTube, as soon as we go live, it notifies you that we are going live. So that's a good thing. I'm not sure if that happens on Twitter or not, but I know it happens on YouTube. But anyway, the question, what 2 teams did Chip Caray pick to get to the World Series? And you could win a pair of Oakley sunglasses with the correct answer, and we select you at random. Now, I'm ready to go, and I'm glad I almost forgot the question that you got the question to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. Thanks. We'll see you on Saturday.